Hi, it's Dr. Doug Curtis.
And you see Curtis from Dyslexic and Unstoppable. Our mission is to help dyslexics rediscover their inner power.
That's right. We're on to our next question with dyslexia and ADHD. This is question 14 in our series. It says, is on the go or acts as if driven by a motor. So maybe talk about from Felix Alexander's perspective, you know, how it showed up in dyslexia. Maybe we can figure out how to differentiate it.
Yeah, well, as we were preparing for this, you said an interesting thing that's what it reminds me of, is when we were doing spelling, and if you ask them to sit down straight, don't move, let's do spelling, he couldn't stop moving.
Right, exactly.
And then eventually I realized that if I let him go around the island in the kitchen as we're doing it, it worked. You know, like it's like this energy and this need to
move. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, part of that is kids do learn different ways. Some kids do learn through movement, through kinesthetics and that kind of stuff, whereas some do more verbal and repetition, and some are more auditory or whatever. But again, I think some of it was just the nervous energy, maybe the difficulties in processing the words in his head, whatever, and that led to energy that he needed to expend.
Sorry, it also brings up that it used to be a lot more. I'm not saying it's totally gone, because he's still, like when he's in a classroom, he will still like fidget and play with his pencil.
Right.
You know, so but he's still listening. So I always tell the teacher, even though he's doing this, he's listening. Just pay, you know, like see his responses and how he does on his homework and things like that, because he is listening. He just needs to manipulate something and do things like that.
Yeah, and I think that is a good way of differentiating between ADHD and dyslexia. One, in ADHD, this on the go and driven by a motor is all the time. It's not just reading, it's not just writing, it's all the time. And two is, you know, the child with ADHD and dyslexia probably, while they're fidgeting and playing with something, they're also distracted and looking somewhere else and going off somewhere else. And the child with dyslexia, you know, like you said, the teacher just needs to look at the child and see, is he really paying attention? And with Felix Alexander, he always was. He was always sitting down and, you know, yes, he'd be fidgeting or he'd be playing with this, but then he'd be able to repeat the question.
Or the teacher would ask a question and he'd be like, I got it. Because, you know, like it's the same thing as the car. I listen to all these audiobooks in the car, and he's doing whatever, or playing on his iPod or whatever it is. And then he's like, oh, what about this? Wait a minute, can you stop it? I have a question, you know, like, what does that mean? And I'm like, what? I'm like, you're not even listening.
Right, but he is listening.
But he is listening.
Right, so I think that goes with it too. And then this third thing you said, which I think is key, is the improvement. Once his dyslexia was remediated, less, you know, it's not totally gone, but that fidgeting and that...
Yeah, he has an energy. And I think I'm like that too. I can't, I know. I just do one thing, like, meditating, no, I have to do like, I move, like I need a movement.
Right. So, and you know, that should help differentiate between the ADHD and dyslexia. Also help you understand that it's never going to go away completely, but you can work around it and still be successful. Right? Yeah. So anyway, that's another one of our ADHD versus dyslexia videos. Let us know what you think. Drop us a comment below and visit www.dyslexicandunstoppable.com. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.